Belinda, welcome. Stoked to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
You're excited? Where are you at the moment? I mean, I know we met. When did we meet? We met back in March in Melbourne, and it was just before
We did.
this change
When I was
happened.
living at the Olsen.
That's
Yes.
correct. That's right. Through random.
To go to LA.
Yeah. And so that was right
Yeah.
that was in March, right at the beginning of this. Now you're in Sydney.
Mhm.
How are you going? Tell me. Talk to me.
Yeah, Sydney's great. I'm not going to lie. The weather here is incredible compared to Melbourne. Melbourne weather is like 4 seasons in one day compared to Sydney. But yeah, I had to quarantine for 14 days. So I arrived on the 28th, came here for work, was approved for a permit. They pushed me back at the airport, locked me in a Meriton hotel for 14 days straight. And that was mentally challenging in itself. The 6th day, I went crazy. The 7th day, I tried to leave the apartment somehow. I was calling my lawyer and trying to figure out how can I get out of this situation. But yeah, I had to bite my tongue and stay for the whole 14 days. But it's been great just getting out and about in Sydney and just going to cafes and, doing the normal things that normal people do. And I feel sorry for Melbourne people, to be honest, with everything that's going on.
Do you not identify as a Melbourne person now? Do you not identify as a Melbourne person now?
No, because I'm here for a month. So I'm not back until the 13th. So when I come back, it will be stage 3 for you guys. You guys will be going back into stage 3.
I think so. Yeah.
Whereas Sydney, well, that's what they're saying, but who knows, right? These things change quite quickly. But super grateful and all of that, and happy.
Good. So you're back in Sydney. You're originally from Sydney. You're working now in tech, in helping people find their dream jobs, helping organisations find the right talent. How's it been going? What's been happening? Like, you start off in Sydney, you come to Melbourne, you end up back in Sydney. Tell us a little bit about your journey to get to this point.
Yeah. So I'm originally from the country, actually. And then I moved to Sydney when I was around 12, 13 years old with my mum. And at the time, she decided to move back into Victoria. And at the time I was around, I think 18, 19, I believe. And I was like, I don't want to go back. I want to stay in Sydney. So I stayed in Sydney on my own. I moved out of home when I was 16 turning 17. I was really young. So I've been living on my own ever since. And I love Sydney. I grew up in Brighton Sands. But I got to a certain age 3 years ago. I'm 29 now, but 3 years ago, I was like, I need to be around my mom. So I ended up moving back to Victoria, which is Melbourne. She lives in Bendigo, which is a 2-hour drive from Melbourne. And I love Melbourne. I mean, the first year was a struggle because just building my pipeline again and my connections and starting a new business was really hard. But now Melbourne's home for me. I mean, I still love Sydney. It has a place in my heart, but Melbourne is for sure home. I would never move back to Sydney, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think don't you think it's interesting, like you go back to where you're kind of like been brought up or raised, and like I occasionally bore the shit out of my kids and I'll drive them past my original house that I used to live in as a child just to show them. And I don't know what it is. It's this sentimental thing in my heart that there's some bizarre reason to do it. So when you say you're back in Sydney, you're loving it, but you're a Melbourne girl and like loving Melbourne. I'm stoked you're in Melbourne, by the way, because I think Melbourne needs more people like yourself who are willing to speak up, speak out, stay centered to their truth, and also work their asses off. And that's what you do. You launched Focus a couple of years ago. Is that right?
Yeah, two and a half years ago. It's still really new.
2.5 years ago. It's still really, really
new. Still a baby.
Still a baby. So tell me, what are you doing with the baby? Who are you helping? What's going on?
Yeah, so Focus, for anybody that, doesn't know, Focus is a recruitment agency. So we recruit digital tech talent across APAC. We do some United States clients, but majority is APAC region. So we work with clients like Amazon Australia, Mind Valley, Telstra, a lot of SaaS companies like Quandu, really cool, up and coming, vibrant, tech companies. It's really a really, really interesting space to be in. We work with a lot of startups as well that come from San Fran or LA and want to tap into the Australian market. So we kind of grow the talent here for them. Yeah. And yeah, we've been doing that for 2.5 years. And we now are launching an app called Workle, which is a video CV app. So that has been kind of my focus for the last, I would say, 6 months, just trying to push that out and get that launched. And it's essentially a pitch video under a minute of a candidate looking for a job. And it's a platform where hiring managers can sign up to see talent, pretty much, seek talent. So the talent has a video, it has a CV attached, and it also has their social media links. So it's just a really quick and easy tool that you can use to find talent in other ways. And it just takes away all the BS that you have in a first interview. You can see the person, you can see if they're going to fit in the culture. What do they look like? What's their tonality like? Do they have the energy we need for our brand? Yes or no? Because usually within the first minutes, if they're going to fit or not.
Yeah, definitely. So
yeah, app, that's cool.
So you got the Focus side, and then you got the app, and so it all comes together though as under.
It's all aligned.
It's all aligned to your heart, your mind, all aligned.
Yes.
And
excitingly, recently, I am now officially one of the board members on High Pay. So High Pay will be going publicly soon on the ASX. Yep. So they are a fintech company, which is hire now, pay later.
Yeah.
So it's for recruitment agencies that need cash flow. As you know, especially now, a lot of agencies are struggling bad. They're not pivoting, and if they're not pivoting, there's no way, to get new clients, because new clients can't afford to pay $20,000 to $50,000 for a recruitment fee. So what High Pay is let us find you the talent, and the client can pay later. So it's essentially like Afterpay, Zip Pay.
Afterpay, yeah.
It's Afterpay, and High Pay is actually growing faster than Afterpay. So they launch in October, and they're already going to get listed. So it's a really, really, really great company. They're doing amazing things as well. So for any recruitment agencies that are looking for cash flow, it's definitely a way to go with High Pay.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. That's fantastic, that appointment. You must be stoked.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited.
Yeah. Yeah, and I reckon you bring a heaps of value as well, like, because you speak up so honestly and directly. You're not scared to hold back, and so many organisations need that at the moment. Especially the more sophisticated corporatized organisations, they need it more and more than ever. They just don't know how to deal with it, right? So, but yeah, congratulations on that. I think it's good because it complements what you're about and what you stand for, and
everything.
Everything, right?
Tech.
Yeah, that's it.
All aligned.
Aligned. So let's talk about that for a minute. And let's talk about being aligned from the perspective of, let's not put ourselves in our shoes. We're business owners. We believe that we're more aligned today than we've ever been before, right? But let's put that into the shoes of somebody who might be, let's say, C-level, might work for an organization at the moment. They've got something inside them that feels as though they need to be doing more. They could be doing more. Let's say they approach you hypothetically for, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm on my journey. Here's where I want to be. Here's where I want to get to. The type of organisation I want to work in, the cultural fit, what I'll be responsible for. How would you use your experience about alignment to guide and assist that person, that individual, in moving from where they are today to that dream role down the track without losing their sense of self, you could say?
I'm so sorry. You just cut out for like a quick second. So can you
it was
repeat
like
yourself at the end?
it was like a 3-minute pre-frame to that one little
It
bit
was
you missed.
such a long question, and then you cut out right at the end of the question. So, how would I approach somebody if they had a question about?
How would you assist somebody in their transition from where they are today to that dream role they want, taking into consideration alignment, their purpose? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So how would we guide somebody if they wanted to get in front of their ideal employer? They know what they want to do. They know what career path. They can see the vision that they want, but they just don't know how to get there. They don't know where to start.
100%. And let's make the assumption that they're in alignment with who they are as people, and that's definitely what they want to do. So yeah, talk to that. I'm curious.
So a career or a business?
So right now it'll be like
two different things.
Yeah, real different, right? So let's say I'm C-level. I'm currently working in a role for somebody else, and I'm wanting to move.
Career, yeah.
Career. Go. Yeah.
So that's a really good question, because I actually get these questions all the time on LinkedIn. I actually need to do a video about it or something, an article. So a lot of guys come to us all the time, and the generic thing is, I mean, there's so many jobs on LinkedIn, there's so many jobs on Seek, and I'm applying and I'm submitting CVs, but nobody's getting back to me, or they're just shoving me off. Unfortunately, you weren't successful for this role. However, please keep in touch if, et cetera, et cetera. That's like the generic email everyone gets, right? In their inbox. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand it. And that's why I did a post about ageism. It's such a big thing, because there's so much great talent out there, and a lot of companies, they don't talk about it much, but a lot of companies most want millennials or Gen Zs. They don't want the older people anymore. So that's why I posted throw ageism out the door, because I just think it's absolute BS. But going back to the question, the way that I see it is, a lot of candidates are not building a personal brand, and personal brand is such a big thing now, especially on social media like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And a lot of employers, that's where they are. They're on LinkedIn. And if you're not posting or showing your skills or engaging with posts in your industry and building an actual brand in your niche, people are not going to find you. And the way I say it is, like, if you don't take a video or if you don't take a photo, it never happened. It never happened.
It's kind of like
you're
that
kind
these
of
days,
just
right?
flying under you're flying under the radar, and nobody's actually noticing you. It's about having a business, same thing. It's, if you're not building a brand, you're eventually just going to fly under and just die, because it's all about brands, all about marketing now. Yeah. So if you're trying to start a career, let's just say you love fashion. Let's just say fashion is your thing. And, you're currently working in a corporate role that you hate, customer service, completely different to fashion, and you're a creative. It's like, I want to do fashion, but I just don't know where to start. And I don't want to do a uni degree or whatever that is, because usually that takes a long time.
Yeah.
Start building content around fashion, or write articles around fashion, collaborate with fashion labels for free. Yeah. A lot of fashion labels are willing to speak up for free PR and free content. So collaborate with people like that on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and keep posting about fashion and things that you see in the market that you should change, or, articles that have been written from journalists in fashion labels and whatnot. But what I'm trying to get to is that people need to start building personal brands about what they want to do, or the skills that they have.
So what do you mean by that? Do you mean that they treat themselves as their own business, as a business, and they start promoting themselves as a business in terms of their personal brand?
Not really. I mean, you could say it's a business, but it's not really. It's just building a personal image on LinkedIn to get in front of the right employers. The way that we won Amazon was by video. They reached out to us and said, we noticed your video. We noticed you're doing things differently. We're intrigued. Let's meet.
Yeah.
A great example. Talia. So Talitha, we hired her, I call her Talia and T. Talitha, we hired her about a month ago with Focus. And the way that we found her was through video. We hired her because she was building a personal brand on LinkedIn, and it was out of the ordinary. You know, it's like, I want somebody that's out of the norm. People want people out of the norm. If you're going to follow everybody else by submitting a CV, it's a very low chance that you're going to get that job.
Sure.
You need to do things outside of the norm by creating a personal brand or directly DMing somebody in a video. There's tools that you can use like Vidyard. It's free. Vidyard. You can direct message hiring managers in a video. Hey, my name's Belinda. I've seen that you posted this job. Let's catch up for a coffee. It takes 3 seconds. You know, what I'm saying is people are not doing things outside of the norm of actually getting that career.
But what? But why? I mean, like, I get it, right? We know, we both get it. But I don't understand why people don't dare to be more different. I know some of the reasons why, of course, that they're scared. They just want to fit in. They want a sense of belonging. They're scared to stand out. I'm like, but this is your life, you know, life's short and we get one crack at it, and like, we got to chase after our dreams. So why aren't people doing the things that to us make sense? They're actionable. They don't need to be overproducticized, whatever, but they don't have to have mega levels of post-production. Why aren't people doing it? And what can they do to move past that so they start doing the things that'll lead them?
Well, they're not doing it because they don't really want it. Simple.
Is it that simple?
Is it that don't want it?
Is it that simple?
Absolutely.
Do you think?
Absolutely.
Now,
yeah, it's a lot of other things. But the main reason is if you really want something in life, you will do anything to get that thing, right? It's like if you really want this thing, you're going to go out of the box, out of the norm to be able to get this thing. In the end, it's just you didn't really want it.
So are we saying that the individual is probably not aligned to what they really do want and they don't know, and it's about first?
Correct.
Okay. So they need to get a clearer understanding of who they are and what they want.
All the other little things. Yeah, and they use all the other little things as excuses to why they're not doing it. But the real reason is they're comfortable with where they're at. Yeah. And the bigger reason is they don't really want it. Yeah. It's not really what they want to do.
So if you're working,
it's just in their mind of society. Do you know what I mean? It's like society wants me to be a CEO of XY. So I'm going to be a CEO of XY. But at the core, that's not really what they want to do. They want to be a hippie and live a happy life and, you know, travel the world. But they won't do that because society wants to see them as another person. So it's just they don't really want it enough. Yeah, or they don't even know what they do want about themselves and that type of thing. Which brings it back to not wanting it enough. Yeah. That's all it is. Yeah. So through what you do, right? And let's say candidates and talent that you come across, let's say you can pick someone's BS and you go, you know what? You don't want this. Will you call them on it? Will you really challenge them or? Oh yeah, I have to. That's my job, you know, because our clients are not going to do that. They've got huge legislations around what they can say and what they can't say. The reason why recruiters are existing is because we have to call out the BS. We have to find out whether they're telling the truth or not. So you definitely need to challenge them. I challenge my candidates all the time. I even call candidates out to the point I ask them, my biggest question I ask all the time, most times, and a lot of recruiters don't ask this, I was like, oh, okay, so you've done X, Y, in X, Y, this, and you've done that, and you've done that. So why have you never not started your own business? And they're like, oh, yeah, I've thought about it, and it's something that I'm doing. And I was like, oh, so you're doing a side hustle? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm doing this and this. So is that going to take your focus away from what you're trying to do here at this company? Yeah, but I'm thinking about I might just do it for a few years and then go back to my side hustle. Like those candidates never work. So you need to pick out if, you know, they're wanting the actual job or just wanting the job for money to feed into their side hustles. So yeah, a lot of recruiters don't ask these questions. Yeah. And a lot of talent leaves because they are doing their own thing on the side.
How do you find that your candidates respond when you actually do challenge them? Like in really, so I think challenging someone in a respectful way is a sign that you actually care about them. Do you know what I mean? Like actually genuinely care about them and challenge them, because you want to challenge to see where they're at so you can calibrate and then actually help them get to where they want to get to. So when you're challenging people, how do they respond? Do they like it? Love it?
Well, you don't challenge them in an aggressive way. You be
Of course.
nice about it, you know. So
Yeah.
tell me, like, what is it that you want to do and why?
Yeah.
You know, I'd
Yeah.
love to know that. And you just genuinely care, you know, you genuinely want to know why they want to apply for the job. And it's in best interest for us as well, because we're representing them and the company. And everything that happens in between falls back on us, not them. So we need to make sure that we do ask these questions, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And like personality
But always
styles,
challenge.
communication styles, individual vision, values, all that type of stuff. Is that part of the kind of unconscious process in your mind when you're going about doing your thing? Or is it something?
Yeah, it's all culture fit first.
Yeah.
Look, in my mind, what I always say to the team and to my clients, it's culture over everything. Over everything. If they're not going to fit in the culture, it's never going to work, ever. I would take somebody that has the right attitude, that has zero skills, because skills can always be taught. But you cannot teach somebody to have the right attitude.
It can't be taught, can it? It can't be taught.
It can't be taught. You can't. It's a thing that we evolve with, that we're born with. You know, it's a grit. Like for us, you know, we grew up in you know, crazy families, and we have a crazy upbringing, and that's why we've got the grit. It's not.
Yeah.
We didn't you know, learn this. It was given to us at a young age. You know. It's all about the upbringing and all of that. But you can't teach grit and you can't teach attitude. That's for sure.
Yeah, you can't, can you? And I think like I've learned in some of the conversations that I've been having with different people. I was having a chat to one of my team members yesterday, and she's an awesome individual, and assertiveness is something where I really see a massive opportunity for her to grow into. And I said to her, I go, for the past 8 years, you've been dealing with some life shit. You've been raising like a boy. You've been working. You've been doing all this stuff. And I'm like, you have earned the right to be assertive. You know, like you have earned the right by all the bullshit, all the things you've navigated through. You've earned the right to be assertive. Yeah. So I said to her, B, I want you to be more assertive with me, and I want you to be more assertive with those around you, because you're an amazing person, super talented, and, you know, being nice and compliant and getting along with everyone is great. Don't lose that. However, be assertive as well, because that's just adding, you know, more potential to her, who she is. But in the end, it's just more of her coming out. And so I think there's a lot to be said about earning the right to speak up and be, you know, like in your scenario, your challenges in terms of your upbringing, doing all the work, you kind of need to earn the right to call people out on their bullshit. You can't kind of like, I don't know, you kind of can't not live and then be able to speak from your truth. You need to have gone through it yourself to an extent. So I find some of the things you say would be really, you can't speak from that place without actually have done it. So there's a sense of obligation, responsibility at the same time, I think, with, you know, managing people, whether or not it's in business or with their careers or whatever it is. We do have a sense of responsibility and obligation to ensure that our lessons, what we've learned through our experiences, we can share those in a way that somebody could resonate with, to maybe begin their journey in that space as well, which, you know, I'm always thinking about in talking to people, helping people find their dream roles. I think it's really, really important. So B, you've won some big accounts.
Always.
You've won some big accounts recently. Big accounts like Amazon. What was that one? I saw something drop just recently. Quandu. Did I pronounce it right?
Quandu.
Quandu.
Yeah, Quandu.
So tell me, like,
Quandu.
so you've been winning. You've won some significant business. You've been around for 3 years in this space, doing your thing with focus. Like how?
You just ask. If you don't ask, you don't get.
You just ask, you don't get. But come on.
There's
more to it. There's more to it than that. There's more to it than that.
No, you know, as a salesperson, you know, it's all sales. Like in the end, I mean, we are good operators, and I believe that I can delegate quite well. That's one of my strengths. But yeah, the brand, honestly, our brand has created most of the success we have today. It's our brand. Our brand is just, I mean, we've been around for 2.5 years and people know us. You know, when people say my name or say Focus, they're like, oh yeah, that agency, yeah, they're doing like really cool things. That's how people see us. Like, yeah, they're cool. They're doing great things, you know? And to hear those comments and the feedback of social media, I get it all the time on LinkedIn. It's just overwhelming. And we're really small. We're only 11 staff. That's like tiny, you know, compared to these big giant agencies of like 100+ staff.
Yeah.
And when people don't notice them, but they notice us, it's brand. It's all about the brand that we have, which A, makes us look bigger, and B, it's creating this visual of, it's like when clients see us, they're like, we want to work with them. We want to be a part of their team, you know, just because we are cool. We're a cool bunch and we do amazing things with our content. And that's why we do the media side as well. So T came, she was involved with us about a month ago, and Focus Media came about, which is all under the same brand. So we've got Focus Group, Focus Recruitment, and then Focus Media. And Focus Media is B2B marketing, essentially. So we create content at scale for companies, and we do LinkedIn lead generation as well.
Interesting. Now, is this business line new? Because it's weird, right?
It's not a new business because people think it's not. It's all under the same banner.
Okay.
So it's the same brand, the same company, but it's a new service that we offer because it was based on demand.
How new?
It was based on demand and pivot a month.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously through the current climate and things that's going on in the world, you saw an opportunity to provide.
We had to pivot.
Yeah.
We had to pivot for cash flow, and because we wanted to grow, we have like goals that we want to do in the business. So we're like, well, do we pivot this way or do we pivot that way? So we pivoted the media side, and the media side just grew.
Yeah.
It's like we've got huge accounts now with just media.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It's crazy.
Well, that's like, it's really bizarre. So even with the work I do and the team that we've built and the number of different businesses I'm involved with, in the last 2 weeks, I've had 2 other businesses external from myself approach us to do their social media and EDM marketing, right? Just off the back of seeing what we're putting out and what we're doing. And I think there's a general acceptance now that in the market, not only millennials and Gen Zs, but the more mature end of the population that I sit in the 43 bracket, at 40, 50, they go, hang on, I need to do this now. I need to do this now if I'm going to be relevant.
Yeah.
So we've had people come to us to do stuff for their businesses out of the fact that we're doing it, and they now realize that they need to be doing it as well. So there's a real shift going on, isn't there? And there's a shift in business, there's a shift in life, and people have got time now to work on their businesses, on themselves, as opposed to in their businesses and in their own lives with the extra time, right?
It's so true.
So what do you reckon?
Because a lot of people didn't have sorry to cut you. A lot of people didn't have a choice. They had to digitize. So they were already going to do it. But when COVID happened, they were like, holy fuck, we need to do it now, or otherwise we're going to die.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody's seeing it now.
Yeah. I call it forced innovation. Like, people won't necessarily innovate until they got a real
forced innovation. I love that. I'm going to use that. Yeah, it's so true.
Make sure you quote me, but forced innovation, you know, because everyone was talking about pivoting and doing this and going there and la la la. Like, that's fucking forced innovation. So
it's forced. It's bloody forced.
So
like the pandemic.
Yeah. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. We could talk about that for hours. However,
the pandemic. Yeah.
I want to stay relevant, and I want to bring as much value as we can, based on your expertise around what you know, who you know. You know, if there's somebody out there listening today, not only will they get to listen to yourself and myself have a chat, but what would be 2 or 3 things you'd leave with them? It can be around the recruitment stuff, but it could be just through your journey in terms of what you've learned, something that really resonated with you, something that you might stand for, to go, you know what? I wholeheartedly believe in this little thing, and if I can share that and maybe one or two people pick that up and run with it, they're going to be better off for it. What would a couple of your own personal mantras or philosophies be, Pete?
Oh, wow. That's a really full-on question. But, you know, funny as he was saying that, the first thing that came to mind, because I feel as though I'm recently going through this at the moment, even though I'm still really young, but I'm starting to feel my feminine side can drift away at times, even though I'm a woman, and I'm super feminine, you know, as a woman in my personal life. But in my business life, a lot of people see me as like this alpha, you know, female, and this, like, you know, this force, this, you know, she takes no BS type of female. And I've had feedback from a lot of people and mentors and, you know, people that I look up to that have given me this feedback. So I would say, if you're a female, don't get caught up in the whole like corporate, you know, alpha, how can I say, mentality. Even though we're surrounded by males and dominant, you know, males and egotistic males.
Hey,
I
wait.
truly think.
Sorry.
I truly think you need to, you know, go back to the core, which is you are a woman and you can be feminine and you can be vulnerable. These things are huge, you know, traits that women have over men. And this is how women will forever win in life, is being vulnerable and being feminine and, you know, having that nurturing nature. So I would say, if you're a woman and you're caught up in the whole business world at the moment and you feel as though people say, oh, don't take men's bullshit, or, you know, be a boss and, like, you know, have some balls and like make fucking decisions. I think that's all cool and well, and you can definitely win business in that way, but it's not sustainable because you can end up losing yourself.
Yeah.
And it can truly affect your personal life. It can truly affect your personal life. And when your personal life is affected, that will then affect your business or your career that you've got going on. So yeah, just, you know, sometimes you need somebody or something to ground you, to take you back to your true self. And that could be a person, it could be an environment, it could be, you know, a restaurant, a cafe, or a book, or anything. But yeah, keep grounded to who you truly are, because sometimes you can get caught up in that little high life of success and what people see you as, not what you see yourself as. The second thing, thing I would say is,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that
Can
message.
You hear me?
Yeah. It was a great message, and I think it's equally applicable to men as female as well. Do you know what I mean? Not the different intricacies of masculinity and femininity.
Yeah, it could be.
I think it's just as important for men as well.
Yeah.
Second thing?
It could be. The second thing, I actually did a quote today on my Instagram, which was super relevant today in today's society. So as you know, Gen Z and millennials, you know, are coming up slowly. And a lot of them, you know, I'm the CEO of, I'm the founder of, and I'm this. And I think a lot of people, again, get caught up in this entrepreneurship world. And the quote was on my Instagram, I said, my frustration with many business owners is that they glorify it, talk like the journey is easy, yet are rarely profitable, and patronize others for being employees. Entrepreneurship is one of the hardest things in the world. 1% are profitable and 0.1% remain profitable.
Are you serious?
1%.
Really?
1% are profitable and 0.1% remain profitable after 10 years.
Far out.
So the quote basically meant that people need to stop glorifying and stop thinking. If you're somebody listening to this and you're thinking about starting a business or you're thinking about starting a career, don't justify it on what people are posting and what people are showing you, because that's all glorified on having success. but they're not showing you what they actually did to get that success. So you need to understand that it's the hardest thing in the world to run a business. And if you're going to get into that field, you need to have somebody that has done business over and over again to understand what you're getting yourself involved in. And the takeaway from that is society. Stop living in this society world of what people want you to be. Just be what you want to do. You know, if you want to be a baker, you like cooking, go be a baker. You don't need to own the restaurant, the chains of restaurants, to live a happy life. If you truly like baking bread and that's your true passion, it makes you happy, then just bake bread.
That's it.
You know, and these people have this thing in their mind, like, no, I've got to own the restaurant. I've got to run the chains of the restaurant. It's like,
they can do that later on. It's like first take steps 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. You can figure that out when you get to it. But just take the first 3 steps.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like closer.
But I think those would be. Yeah, they would be my 2 takeaways. Just based on the journey that I am in right now, they would be my takeaways for sure.
The great takeaways, heaps of value there. If anyone's listening, watching today, you can follow Belinda Agnew on Instagram and also LinkedIn. She's dominating
Belinda
LinkedIn.
Agnew Original.
Belinda Agnew Original on Instagram. Belinda Agnew on LinkedIn. Dominating LinkedIn, doing some amazing stuff on there. I've definitely learned a thing or two from following you, chatting to you, communicating to you. You've been awesome. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you
You've
so
been great.
much. I'm excited to see it.
Pleasure. I can't wait till you're back in Melbourne.
And
hopefully we can catch up. Thank you. What for? I don't know what for.
Podcast.
Oh, cool. Hey, it's on the fly.
Yeah.
That's just what we do, right? It's just what we do. We talk about, as being an entrepreneur or working, and it's all this little steps that, like I don't want to act like this is a part of the process. I haven't achieved anything yet. It's so enjoyable and so fun to hang out with people like yourself and hear those things. So thank you for that saying so. It's been great having you on the show. And
thank you.
I can't wait to speak to more and more crew on the fly.
Thanks, Brent.
Thanks, Pete.